there. So,
Exactly.
hello, Julia.
Hiya, how you doing?
I'm doing great. So, I'm here with my phone. I have muted my phone and I've also silenced it. And yet, we have some kind of weird feedback from here, and I'm not sure why. Maybe if I do this, it will.
Was the feedback there before I joined? Is my question.
Well, I wasn't talking before you joined,
Oh,
so I
okay.
don't know. I hear myself talking in my phone. I hear it, but I turned the
Yeah,
volume
yeah, you muted it.
down and I muted it. You can see it's muted on the
Yeah, I see it muted right there. I think this is just a StreamYard issue, everybody. StreamYard is kind of wonky sometimes, that's all.
So I'll tell you what, Julia, I'll try not to talk too much because it's my talking that is doing this
Okay.
echoing thing. But you feel free to talk because it's not happening with you. You're
Okay,
okay.
well, all I want to tell everybody is like I finally decided to start coloring Harem Sultan, but I kind of am making some of it up because I have an original painting. But honestly, that's just somebody's interpretation of her. She never sat for a painting. The the Ottoman sultanas didn't really sit for paintings until like the 1700s when they started becoming a little bit more open. Like the harem didn't have visitors, so this was just somebody's like I think the headgear is it right, but a lot of it is just like a fantasy of what they thought she looked like, really. And Aya's painting something from the magic. What's the name? Magic box.
Uh, yeah, the sound of magic.
Oh, the sound of magic. Why did I think it was the magic box? But so Harem has red hair, and my thought is when I'm on my big computer, I can see the picture of her with her red hair, but I have to find it again on my little phone, so I kind of have an idea, or just somebody with red hair, really. Because I see, I just want to find like some sort of reference for a woman with red hair to give me an idea about how I might with long red hair. I do like that we can see both views today, Aya. That's a nice setup.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just having a lot of trouble with feedback. I'm sorry.
It's
It's my
okay.
fault.
I just wanted to say I really like your setup and how you planned it out.
Yeah, maybe now it will be more silent. What do you think?
I think so. It sounds good now. But I
Okay,
mean,
I tried to share it, so
okay. I mean, you want me to share it somewhere? I could do that too.
uh, well, it's up to you.
Let
If
me do
you
that.
have a place that you'd like to share it, that'd be nice.
Yeah, let me do that.
And I do apologize because I know a lot of times I thought it was on your side, but I know it's echoing on my side, and I
Well,
really do
I
apologize.
don't think so always because it does echo on my side. It does. Like I know that for sure. It's a StreamYard thing, and I'm like, what am I doing? I will admit though, I'm not always really good at picking up on echoes. I already know that. Like, so sometimes I want to know. And apparently, my sound is sometimes too loud, like some people say, but I don't detect that. But I'm not a musician, so I don't detect those things. Sometimes I just have it louder because I like to hear everything everybody's saying.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just going to concentrate on painting because I can hear myself echoing, and
Oh,
it's
you
not,
know, you don't have to talk. You don't have to talk.
yeah. No, it's not you. I can hear that it's me, and I really apologize for that.
Let's see. I'm trying to find a place I want to share this because I need to go to YouTube first. I can multitask to some degree, everybody, but I hate like force, like some people like do lots of things at once. I have to kind of like, I find like I have to kind of slow down, like even though I'm trying to share this, my connection is so slow lately. I think I do need to reset my router. Fun story about my router, like when they forced me to upgrade to the new router, it just came one day. I didn't know that was happening, and it just showed up at my door, and they're like, yes, you need to upgrade now or your old router is going to stop working. So I did. And then all these things kept happening. They're like, you did not accept the new router agreement. I'm like, I didn't get that email. They're like, yes, you did. I'm like, actually, I didn't. And then one time I came home and my internet wasn't working. And they're like, well, that's because you didn't accept the email. And I'm like, look, I didn't get the email. They go, well, we can set up a service appointment for you on Saturday. I'm like, I'm working Saturday. They're like, okay, we'll set it up for Monday then. But then it was funny. I came home Saturday night and everything was fixed. So I just assumed, well, maybe it just fixed itself. So I never bothered with it again. But I think I'm going to have to do something because it's been weird ever since I got my new router. I've had these like sporadic issues. And I did share it on my other Facebook page where I just share some blog stuff that I do by myself or with Aya sometimes. I'm trying to find a better angle for myself because since I'm so blurry, it's pretty bad.
Can you still hear me echoing or did I stop?
I mean, it doesn't sound super echoey. There's some playback, but I do honestly think at the end of the day that may be a StreamYard wide issue. But I like what you're doing so far with your painting. I need to look for my other Prismacolor pencils, but I did buy this set at Walmart. The colors are not super like wide variety. It's just basic colors, but it's a nice little set, like starter set. And I do like Prisma. If you're going to do colored pencils, I just recommend Prismas more than others because just the colors don't fade and they blend better. They're just very beautiful. So I highly recommend the Prismacolor pencil if it's something that you're looking for, like colored pencils, you know.
I don't actually know how to use colored pencils in a professional way.
I'm pretty good at it, but it came innate within me. It's not like I ever took like, okay, when I was in high school, I took an art class, but they didn't like show us like techniques. They were just like, okay, you need to draw. Like they would kind of like do like some perspective or like we might occasionally see like a video with an artist interview, but our teacher was really good. Like in that she was just very talented and she was in a gallery and she went to art shows and she did a few things. But then I took some art classes in college, which were even worse. I'm like, I don't know how this can be because that's supposedly like the place where you major. But it was just like, I hated the format. It would be these teachers that were just like, yeah, I see it and I grade it as it is. And it didn't seem very like, I don't know. And the one teacher said he was going to pawn my watch because I left it behind one day accidentally. And I got there 20 minutes later. He goes, oh, I was going to pawn that. I'm like, you're joking, right? He goes, no, seriously. I could have got some money for cigarettes with that. I'm like, okay. So that was my introduction to art classes in college. And I kind of stopped taking them after that because I was like, I didn't want to major in art, but I thought, oh, maybe I'll minor in it. But I wasn't that excited.
I can understand.
But that's kind of my, like, maybe I have views on, like, I get it. I love, like, learning and academia, but maybe modern academia is not really for me because in the few encounters I've had in various departments, I don't know, like, but I get it. If you want to be a teacher, I just don't like how strange it was. And it just seemed like, oh, like you just do it. And basically if you're talented, yes. And I think I have some talent, but some of these people, they just could paint really quickly. And they created like masterpieces really fast. And I just seemed to be the kind of person that would do well in that department. So I just decided it wasn't for me. Plus, really, yeah, you can do it on your own. That's just my view of it. I don't really want to be part of the art world. I've never wanted that for myself. I just wanted to create art that I liked, you know?
Hmm.
But you said you'd been in a gallery once. That's kind of cool. I had not known about that until you told me. That's really neat, Aya.
Well, I mean, it's not like I was in the art world. I wasn't. I lived in Houston, Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going to Rice. I was getting my PhD in linguistics, and I lived not too far from the campus. There was a place called the Graduate House, and there was the village. It was called the Rice Village, and there were a lot of artistic kind of shops there. So anyway, they had a gallery there. And since I was painting this narrative painting, I just asked them if they would mind displaying it, in their gallery. And of course, they would get a commission if I sold it there, you know.
That's really neat, though. I mean, it kind of makes me think maybe I should think about that. The only reason I haven't yet is because I knew there were a few people in my area that went to a couple, like there's another new art gallery that opened, like a small one. But there was the main one, like in our town, and some people that I thought were really good. And I really like this guy's painting, but they said, oh, like it wasn't like suitable. And then I read some of the reviews with other people, and I had looked at their pages. And yes, they have some good art there, but it just seemed like they were very narrow about what they would accept. And I don't know. I just was like, so it kind of just, I'm not, since I didn't go ahead and pursue art as like my main vocation, I just want to keep it my hobby. I don't want to make it stressful for me, I guess. So it's always been my hobby.
Hmm. Well, I can't say that it's more than a hobby for me either.
Well, I think you are doing it as a channel. I mean, I did do a lot of art on my channel. I want to do more. But my view is I want to create art that resonates with people. And what I don't like about the art world is like I feel like they kind of shame people for maybe liking realism or like something that's considered not exactly folky, but just like old styles of painting. Like it's like everything has to be more on this abstract, like interpretive level. And I don't want to do that kind of art.
Yeah, but there are lots of galleries that have other kinds of art.
You're right. I just would have to pursue it and look for those things.
Yeah, I'm not abstract at all, as you know.
No, you're not. I know that. I just, from my few experiences, it wasn't even that they were exactly only taking abstract. It just seemed like the few things I heard about a couple of the local galleries were that they were just very narrow in what they would accept. Like it almost kind of seemed like you had to kind of be somebody in the community. And that's kind of what I felt like. Like they want to just accept a nobody, in their view.
Yeah, I know, but I think how I sort of got a foot in the door is I framed some things. A lot of these galleries are also frame shops.
Oh,
And
that's true.
so I did, pay for some framing. And so I think that's probably why they were more generous to consider me.
Well, that's true. I mean, that might help. And maybe I just need to start looking into it. I just kind of wanted to do it more of a like, but I'll see what I do with that. We'll see if I get there. I will definitely keep creating art on my channel though. And I do sell some art prints, as you know.
Well, that's very good. I have not sold any, I'll tell you the truth.
I used to sell more when I was more active, but I kind of give that as me not being as active with promoting it anymore. And then I don't know, I feel like Zazzle wasn't the best venue at some point because people shop more on Amazon these days. They're not just going to Zazzle to buy an art print. So I think I would have to find a way to print it to be sold on Amazon.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on Etsy because people do seem to buy a lot of stuff on Etsy.
They do, but this is the one thing like, yes, I almost thought about doing Etsy again. But there is a lot of weird talk on Etsy because I was kind of thinking about it again. And yes, there are a lot of Chinese businesses that are trying to make it seem like they have like these independent artists that are producing on Etsy. And I remember a few years back that Etsy took a stand and they said that they were not going to really accept that. But it seems like now they've kind of just blurred the lines. And now a lot of like individual artists who said they used to do well. Like my friend, she sells a few things, but it's not a livelihood for her. But there's some other people, they were like, I think they were making like a living doing that. And they said recently it's almost impossible because they can't sell as much because they can't compete with like these art mills. Like basically it's just like it's like a almost, it's not saying exactly like Thomas Kincaid. Yes, Thomas Kincaid could paint, but the thing about him is he would mass produce like prints of his paintings, and then people would put like little touches on the top of them. So it wasn't like an original painting that you were buying when you went to his gallery. It's kind of that idea. Like they're just mass producing art and then pretending like one artist created it like originally. And some artists are saying they can't compete with that on Etsy. That's been a problem, is what one of the things I've heard anyway.
I mean, you can sell print, but you don't have to sell, original artworks only. So you could
Could
just
sell
sell.
prints. That's true. That's an option. And I mean, maybe I need to think about it.
Well, there's no shame in selling a print. That's actually a very good business thing to do.
It's a wonderful business thing to do. That's why I used to love Zazzle so much, but they just weren't. Zazzle kind of, I had a lot of disappointment because they kept saying, we're going to grow our business and you need to do this and that. And I was really working hard on Zazzle, like a lot. And they were like, if you start putting like this many hours per week, like I wasn't literally putting that many hours per week, but they said if you started marketing it and like you started participating more on Instagram with it, you're going to sell more. And my sales went up a bit, but it wasn't like, wow, like astronomical. So, and then people would always come to their forums and they're like, well, we're really disappointed. Like we're not getting the results that we're looking for. But it's just because Zazzle sells some things, but people go other places to buy art prints, not just there. They're not like the first site that people are looking on.
Yeah, I don't think Zazzle is the place to do it.
No, it's not. So, and it's funny. The person that was their main seller like years back, I guess she does something else now. Like she does some sort of life coaching, CEO stuff. So she's not even doing that anymore. Like one of their main sellers.
Yeah, well, the venues change. The venues that are successful, change with time, and you have to kind of move with it.
Yeah, this is true. So true.
I don't think we can, depend on any platform to be there forever.
No, it's everything's changing so rapidly. I mean, it's progress for sure, but it just seems like after our recent, thing, everything's been changing even more every day, all the time. And I'm just like, okay, what's the new thing today?
I have to watch not to use too much water because that's where I get in trouble.
I like it though. It's turning out good.
Thank you. I'm not actually looking at the chat, so if you see any comments in the chat, just
I'm looking. I just haven't seen anybody as of yet, but I'm sure soon we'll get some people.
yeah. I think it's nice when people chat with us, don't you?
I love it. So if anybody's on, please come on and chat with us.
And they could probably share their own experiences about their own art and whether they sell on Zazzle or on Etsy or some other place, maybe even Amazon.
That would be cool to hear. I know that we had some people on like mutual friends that were selling like art prints too. So that's kind of cool. Like I've heard some of their experiences.
Mm-hmm. Now I know that our mutual friend Wayne Tully sells a lot of things. Do you know how he does it?
He does eBay. Some people really like eBay, but why did I never get into eBay? I don't know. I just because I tried to sell a few just items on eBay back in the day and I couldn't ever sell anything. So, but he likes eBay, I think. And I
And
think also he's really talented. So some people like reach out to him and he makes prints for them.
he also does something with Star Wars cards that I don't quite understand. Can you explain that to me, Julia? What does
Star
he
Wars, I don't know what he's doing, to be honest. Like, I haven't kept up with that. Like, I didn't know he was doing that even. Like,
Well, I mean, maybe I got it wrong, but there are certain franchises that he
mm-hmm.
has pictures for, and I always wondered how he got permission to.
They don't. I used to think it was a big problem. Like, okay, it seemed like years ago it was a really big problem because some people got in trouble for, like, I don't know, replicating Mickey Mouse art or other fan art. But I've noticed, like, in the last 3 or 4 years, it seems like more people are just doing fan art and they're kind of just getting by as saying this is a fan representation. It's not the exact thing. So I don't really think that they reached out and got permission. I think they're just doing fan art. And like, if anybody's, I think there's just so much of it now that they're just not maybe going after it the way that they once did. You know, and maybe
Our friend Katrina, if you will go to her one of her channels, she has several, but anyway, she was complaining that she just used like a Ninja Turtle or something like that. I might have it wrong, you know. I might have the wrong franchise, but she was using some kind of cloth that had a design on it from one of these shows or one of these franchises. And she bought it, you know, in the store. It was legal, you know. She wasn't stealing anything or anything like that. And then all she did was sew it. You know, she didn't design the picture. You see what I'm
yeah.
saying? And they banned her, or they wouldn't let her sell that. They took down her listing because they said she was violating the
Oh.
copyright or the trademark or something.
Well, she might have had somebody who saw it and reported her, but all I can say is there's a lot of people out there right now that are doing more than what she's doing, like kind of copying almost, and they're not going after everybody. I think it used to be there were fewer people, just what I've seen, and I could be wrong, but there used to be fewer people making like fan art, and they used to crack down on it more because it was more visible. But I feel like now there's just so many more people doing it, like Marvel comics. There's a lot of people that copy Marvel type style comic art, and Marvel might go after a few people, but I don't think they can go after everybody. But it might just be being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and somebody saw it, and maybe she just got, I don't know, somebody complained. Like, I don't know. But I see other people get away with it. I don't think everybody's reaching out for permission to do that. Like, do you think that all these people ask for permission?
I don't know. I mean, there might be some arrangements where you can ask for permission. I think if the company is smart, they ought to give it and then just take a cut, you know?
Well, some of the younger musicians now, they kind of don't care if somebody uses some of their music as a soundtrack. You just won't be able to monetize that video. I found this out by mistake because I do not like Paramore. It's like, ooh, not my kind of music, but my dad loves Paramore. And I made a video of the Rim of the World Highway, and I forgot to delete part of the sound in the background of a CD he was playing. And they didn't
Yeah.
take down my video. Like, some musicians or corporations would take down the video. Instead of taking down the video, what they did was they said, oh, any earnings on this video are now going to go to Paramore. I'm like, oh, okay. So, like, some of them might be okay with it because maybe they feel like it promotes their franchise, whereas other ones, maybe they want you to get permission, and other ones might not want you to copy anything. So I just don't like that realm. I just kind of stay away from it. Like, even though I mean, I guess I'm kind of doing, like, I love Magnificent Century, but I'm definitely not like going to copy what I see in the show, which basically was just whatever the actors and the writers like decided to create. I'm basing it off a painting, so and my own creation. So I don't know. I just kind of stay away from, yeah, I don't know. But I think it's okay. I think you can do it. It's tricky. And I don't really, I mean, maybe we should ask Wayne to come on one of these days and he can tell us what he does, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I would love to do that. I mean, look, what I'm doing right now is fan art. Now,
Well, in a way, yes, but I feel like it's kind of different because you're not copying it like exactly to sell it the way that some people would like go on Etsy and say, "Oh, this is like I don't know. It is, but it's not." Does that make any sense? I don't know.
well, I'll tell you what it is. I'm not that good at it, so it doesn't necessarily look to them like it's fan art, but it kind of is anyway.
I guess you're right. Well, it's fine then. I guess fan art's okay. I mean, maybe I'm doing the same thing, but mine's more
No,
just
yours is more original and not based on a particular show. I just, I like the features of the actors and actresses. So,
I
uh,
love your Mr. Sunshine paintings. They're so good.
oh, thank you. And anyway, I'm not making any money off of any of this, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah, that's the difference. I guess that's what I was trying to say was you're not going on there and saying like even if you were like it looked a little bit more exact, I don't think you'd be going on there presenting yourself as the Mr. Sunshine fan art page and trying to sell things.
Yeah,
I just don't see you doing that. So
yeah, that's true.
whereas I don't know what their arrangement is, but I feel like not all of them have an arrangement. I just feel like there's more people doing it, and either some businesses or like franchises are okay with it, or maybe some people have agreements. But I think a lot of times people just do it. But that's the thing. That's the thing about why I didn't ever just want to do art that appealed to the masses, because first off, that just didn't interest me, and second off, like I feel like it can be so problematic. Like if even if something's like close to uh, like something somebody else created, I don't want them to say, "Oh, you didn't have permission to use this." So I just kind of err on the side of like extreme caution when it comes to that. To my sister's chagrin, she got really upset because actually she sold some things on Zazzle, and this is perfectly anybody can do this. There is art that's in the public domain that you can sell, and you can make like bags and art prints of like art that's out of copyright, and they do that. People do that all the time, but I just didn't like that she did that. But she's like, it's okay, everybody else does it, and I'm like, that's fine. And she sold more than I did, and that kind of made me upset.
Well, I mean, if you're selling a classic, like Renoir, Young Girls at the Piano, uh, well, a lot of people just like those classics and they will pay for it even though they know it's a reproduction, you know.
That's true, because we have several that she actually bought later that were better quality than like the pictures you get on Wikipedia. Like some of the posters of paintings I have, those were things that she wanted, and I didn't really go. I probably am going to be redoing my walls eventually, but I mean, they're nice. Don't get me wrong. I just definitely, we know they're reprints. So that's a good point.
Yeah, no, I was in Taiwan and one of my colleagues, from Rice had that picture on his wall and I asked him, "Hey, where'd you get that?" Because it was so good. And it turned out he just bought it off some guy on the street. They were reproducing it.
Yep. It's pretty common, I guess.
Yeah. I don't think anybody minds that they do it. Obviously, Renoir has died a long time ago. We can't make any profits off this.
I mean, that's fine. Everybody can do that. I guess I was just disappointed because I should have known though. Like I just wanted to create art that I liked, but you kind of have to be really well known, or it has to be attached to something that's like trending. And a few things would sell, but it would just be like because it was people who liked, I don't know, that well, something that was really special to me because there's this lady named Wanda Lachanbi. She's not alive anymore. I noticed like she stopped posting. So I noticed somebody posted something on her page and they said, "Oh, she passed away," which was really sad because she wanted me. She used to love my art, and she was one of the few people that would actually just come to my page just to say really nice things like, oh, that's original. Like, and she enjoyed looking at things I made. So I created that flamingo with the roses and the watering can because she took a picture of it and she goes, I want to like create a piece of art for my sister. And because she had featured me actually in a newsletter one time, like about some of my art. She was trying to get people to go to my Zazzle page. I really liked her. So I just made that as a copy that she could give to her sister. And I didn't charge her for it because I just
That's
really
very nice of you.
Plus I sold some of it too. So
Mhm.
why not? Like she said you could use the photo and I sold. That's actually one of the prints I've sold like 10 copies of on Zazzle.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so I really love that drawing and I spent a lot of time on it, but it was kind of special too because I never would have picked that image, but I just like that she asked me to do that. So it was kind
You
of a
know
fun.
what? Maybe you should ask other people what images they would like you to paint for them, and that way you'll have some idea what the public likes. So that could happen again.
I mean, yes, I could, but that was more organic because she just came to me like one day. She just messaged me and I don't know. Like I want it to be organic like that. Like that's a good idea though. I think if you really want to grow your channel, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying I'm doing that because we each have our own good things of doing things. Um, so I actually really don't mind being a fan of Korean shows. I'm not ashamed of it. And so I pick out things that I enjoy, painting from those.
I think that's fine. I well look at me I thought, oh, I'm not at first I was watching less of that Turkish show for a while because I'm like, oh, I'm watching too much of this. I'm getting a little too into it. Like it takes up a lot of time. But then I started watching it again, even though I know it's very fictionalized. But what I really like about it is I think I just love the Turkish language and I like their acting style. And I like several of the actors like Halit Ersnick. He's just with his eyes, like the way he just acts with his eyes. He's just so charismatic. And then I found out recently he was opera trained at a university in Istanbul, so he can sing opera, he can sing jazz, rock music, in addition to being an actor.
Mhm.
So I
That's
thought
what.
that was kind of cool. He sings in English and Turkish. And I found
Ah,
these videos with him where he's actually singing like with a classical like orchestra and then one with a band. I was just like, wow, like how many actors do all these different things, like American actors?
mhm.
I don't see it that often. Like, I can't think of any American actor who does all that.
Well, what you're making me think about is Mira Furlan. Uh, she was on Babylon 5. She passed away recently, but
Mm-hmm.
and so I saw a recording of her singing that song from a Casablanca, Kiss is Just a Kiss
Oh
and all.
yeah, "Kiss is Just a Kiss." I love that song. Oh wow, I'll have to look this
That's
up.
it. So apparently she sang jazz. That's what she liked to sing.
She was popular in Turkey too, because remember when you were talking about her, there was somebody when I shared that there was somebody from Turkey who commented on Reddit saying, "Oh, I have to watch this video," like because she's actually popular in Turkey, and
Yeah, yeah, she's an international star of the best caliber.
she was a very interesting lady. Are you gonna paint her again, or
Not that I'm aware of. No, I don't have any plans like that. Maybe I will, but
okay,
no plans.
okay?
But just because you said about singing, that reminded me.
Yeah, it sounds like Hallett kind of has similar, like he's that kind of caliber, like Mary Furlan. I think he's that kind of well-rounded Renaissance kind of person, like Mary Furlan was. Maybe is what it sounds like. I
Yeah, it's easier to find people like that outside the United States, I guess.
I think so because it seemed okay. One thing I thought was really neat just about some of the Turkish shows, like you have people dressing up and they go to like a hotel and a nice hotel, and there have some people playing like classic instruments to propose. Like in this one show, I started watching another one with him, and he's an architect during the day, but he wanted to propose to this fellow architect, and it's just interesting, like how they kind of like dressing classy, and they have they like culture, and it's not something I see in a lot of American shows. You know, I think we just became too casual, really.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing wrong with being casual, but we don't have like these actors that are just so charismatic. We don't have good music and songs like anyway, I digress. But I do like the soundtrack to Magnificent Century. It's really beautiful, especially the violin song that it's not historically accurate, but it's a very good soundtrack for their it feels like you're watching an epic movie, really.
Yeah, well, that's what we want in movies, really, movies and shows.
So maybe I'm a little bit of a fan of that show, like even though it's not historically accurate. I think I'm interested in the Turkish culture more than the accuracy of how they portrayed like the people.
Oh, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with being a fan, you know? That if you admire someone or something, uh, why not acknowledge it? That's you found something good there and
Yeah,
you appreciate it.
you're right. I guess that's a good point. Oh, I like how the face is coming along. I don't see anybody commenting yet, but I think the face is really nice.
Thank you. Thanks. I think I got something from his expression. I mean, this is like all my paintings. It's not accurate, but something is there. That's what makes me happy.
Well, that's the whole point of painting, though, you know?
Hmm. I think I catch the character, not their exact look. You know?
That's okay. Like the essence of the character, like their maybe like a certain expression or some like trait or persona of their persona.
Yes.
But
And
I
that's
do,
all I really care about. You know, that's what I want. I want to get their character.
but we can tell that Don May is not like that painting. Like I don't know who this character is, but Don May and Mr. Sunshine, like I can tell who
Uh-huh.
they are when I look at your paintings.
This one, yeah. Can you see it? Oh.
It looks really good. Yeah, let's see. Don. Yes, that looks exact. That looks like Don May. I love that painting.
Thank you. Thanks. I guess I could put it here. Okay, so you can.
Yeah, see Don May. I like it. I'm super blurry, so I just look like a blob.
Oh, you look very nice. You look like
Why?
somebody who was painted by an impressionist painter.
Oh, that's true. I guess I do with my fly. Trying to get rid of these flies. Don't ever buy fruit from the 99-cent store. Fun story about that is I've been having a problem with the fruit flies ever since then. That pineapple has been the bane of my existence.
Really?
Yes, like I've never had this many fruit flies, but I came home one day and it was like, why are there fruit flies in the house? So I bought some fruit fly traps, and it turned out I was worried about it, but basically it was natural ingredients. It was just like vinegar and soap. So then I started making my own fruit fly traps. But now because of that little group of fruit flies, I still am having the hardest time trying to kill them all.
I'll
And
tell. I have a secret weapon.
what is that?
Put out a glass of wine. They love wine because wine is made from fruit, and
Oh,
it's alcoholic, so it will kill them because it's too much for them.
oh my gosh. Okay. I never buy liquor, but maybe I'll go to the store and buy wine just to do that because I need to get rid of these guys. They're driving me crazy. Basically can't leave anything out. I can't use my coffee pot right now. I have to drink instant coffee because, oh, I came home the other day. There was a little bit of coffee in the coffee pot and they went to town in there. I'm like, oh my gosh. And instead of the fruit fly trap, but I'm going to get the wine. I'll try that.
Now you have to leave out a whole glass and they'll drown in it. That's what
Okay.
happens.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what the fruit fly traps sort of did, but I don't think they're as effective is the problem. It sounds like the wine is more effective because of the alcohol content, right?
Yes, that's what kills them.
Yeah. The soap and water and vinegar thing, it kind of works, but I think they get smart after a while. They're like, hey, some of them are dead in there. We're not going to fly in there.
Well, the wine gets them anyway.
I'm going to try the wine thing. Buy some cheap wine. They're always talking about wine, like the Turks love to drink wine. They're like, the Janissaries are not supposed to, even when I'm reading like historical things, like they're not supposed to be drinking wine. How dare they drink wine? It's just funny because everybody thinks like, oh, like even the Turks, they tried to, like the Ottomans, they're like, we are really a Central Asian people, but they were kind of just Anatolians. Like some of them way back when Osman first created the empire may have had roots in Central Asia because of the Turkic language, yes, but basically they just appropriated the people that were living in Byzantium and Anatolia, and everybody just, and they brought more people, and they're like a mismatch of everything. Like they're just a little bit of everything. So they're very good at PR, though. Like I do have to give them points for that.
Yeah, they're also good at assimilating people into their culture. So.
Oh, the reason they were really good at that is because anybody, well, I mean, it wouldn't be good to be I don't want to be taken from my homeland as a slave. But the irony is a lot of these people that were in the high ranking positions, like the viziers, which is basically the prime minister, much more powerful than a prime minister in a Western country, by the way. A lot of them were Greek, Serbian, Croatian, like people that had been brought there as children, and they were just very talented. And the Turks would always like pick people, like the most talented people. Like if you had merits, it was actually a true meritocracy. So
that's wonderful. That's what I would want anywhere.
A true meritocracy. And whenever there were times that somebody, actually, this was really interesting. I'm reading a book about the Ottomans. Whenever there were times that one of the pashas might start nominating one of his sons for positions that he wasn't qualified for, they got really upset about it. They're like, this is not meritocracy. You can't do that. And they really frowned upon that. So I do like the idea of a meritocracy. I do think people that are the most qualified for positions should be in those positions, because we want doctors and lawyers that know what they're doing, don't we? Like, don't we want
yes,
they're qualified?
I agree.
Yeah, I don't want to see a doctor who went to a paper mill university.
Well, I don't care where he went, actually.
Yeah. But if he's
care,
I care whether he's any good. Really.
No, but what I'm saying is, if they're qualified, I think you would know. But there are some people they're not qualified at all, and they're like, they got a print. I don't know why people would fall for this, but they printed out like a diploma and they were going door to door at like houses saying, I am a doctor providing free exams. And I'm like,
you know what? I don't care. I don't believe in licensing at all. But
yeah.
I think what we need to find out is, can he cure people?
Yeah.
Is he any good?
And decide on that basis.
Okay, that I do agree with you on that one. I just think like if somebody came to my door offering an exam, I would say no, because that sounds kind of weird.
Oh yeah, sure.
But a lot of people let these people in. I'm like, you didn't think that was a little fishy? Like, I'm just saying, like those kind of cases. Like, I'm like,
yeah. But I mean, if somebody recommended me someone and they said, listen, he's not licensed as a doctor, but he saved my life, and I believed them. There was somebody I knew, so they weren't lying to me. I wouldn't need a license.
No, I agree with you 100%. If somebody knows what they're doing, I also think we have to try and do our research on things, because I wouldn't just take any doctor's opinion on something. Like I would want to do my own research and find out, is that a good treatment? Is that valid? Should I do that?
Mm-hmm.
But you have a good point. We shouldn't just rely on licensing or licensure. If somebody knows like how to heal people, then yeah, definitely. It's interesting though, back in Ottoman times, they could heal people with the herbs and the medicine, and they didn't have their license though. That's interesting. The thing, the doctors were using different herbs and medicines.
Yeah, well, that's how medicine started out in ancient times. That's how it worked.
Yeah, that's how it always was. It wasn't like it is today, but I don't think I'd be going to the hospitals today anyway. I just think like I try to avoid it as much as possible, but that's not a popular opinion for some reason. But I don't get sick and other people do.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Some people get, anyway, I don't want to go off on that topic, but I just have opinions about it.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. If you can avoid going to see a doctor, so much better.
Yeah, I mean, I will if I break my foot or something. I might have to, but I'm not going to go to the doctor for the cold. Like, oh, I have a cold. I'm going to go to the doctor.
Well, especially since they're not going to give you anything for it anyway.
Oh, they'll give you a $500 bill, though. I don't want that. So anything new going on in the news? I really haven't been paying attention to the news like I should be, honestly, because I don't know.
Yeah, well, there was a shooting in Southern California. I sent you a question about that.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm going to have to look up to see what happened, but that's not the first time I've heard about something like that happening, unfortunately, where there was another story where there was a man with special needs, and in this case, he wasn't shot by the police, but a police officer told him to leave the bus stop, that he couldn't wait at the bus. He's like, I have to wait here. And he's like, no, move. And then he kept walking down the street and he got shot by some other people. And if he had just stayed at the bus stop, and then there were some other cases where people were shot under weird circumstance. I don't know. San Bernardino has some problems. Like, that's all I'm going to say. It's kind of I mean, I go there all the time. We used to go there all the time because you kind of sometimes had to go there and do things, but they do have some issues for sure. I guess the biggest thing that bothered me was like all the minority businesses that were looted during the whole Floyd thing in 2020. And some of those people can't ever afford to rebuild their businesses again.
That's terrible.
And people were saying that they were like part of the protest, but that wasn't a protest. That was just
looting.
It was looting. So basically, San Bernardino's had so many problems. The first thing that happened was they used to have a military base there, and we probably didn't need so many military bases, so they shut it down. But the weird thing about that was, okay, everybody keeps saying, oh, well, yeah, the international airport's kind of working, but actually it's not, because they took all this federal tax money and they were supposed to put it into the airport to make it like a mini airport similar to Ontario, and the money was there. It just wasn't used correctly. Like, it kind of just disappeared. And then towards the end of one of the state congressman's like term in office, he's like, well, I don't know what happened to the money, but obviously it was supposed to be used for that airport, and it kind of just can't be accounted for. But now people are like, well, it's okay because like, oh, they have some business shipping out of there, and we don't want it to be like Ontario. But basically, when they lost like the military base, like they used to get a lot of people coming into town for business, like to shop there. And it's kind of like Detroit, but this happens all the time though. Cities change, like people move, businesses like, so there's a lot of closed businesses there and a lot of homelessness and just it, but we can't really change these things, I guess. So.
Well, I didn't say that it happened in San Bernardino.
Okay.
I said that police from San Bernardino went to the scene, and I didn't quite understand why.
Well, I'll have to look it up. So if police from San Bernardino went to the scene, it has to be in their city, near their city limits.
I guess so. I'm not familiar with the area, so probably you would know more than I.
Well, I can just look it up to see what happened, like, because I didn't know about this. Like, it sounds like all I'm seeing is 1 killed, 8 injured shooting, and it sounds like there was a party, and the police went to a party, and somebody got shot. Huh. Wow. Well, I hadn't really looked into this before.
Okay, it's fine. I'm not that curious about it.
Yeah, it's just it sounds. All I know is like they've had issues before, but it sounds like that was more like maybe a party and somebody like complained about it and something happened. This is one other reason I don't think it's good to go to those gatherings, but
Yeah, that's true.
but you remember there was another event, and I thought this was so strange. Like, for some reason, the president never wants to visit San Bernardino. I don't know why. This area, Redlands area, like we haven't even had a U.S. president come here since like 1903, like when McKinley came. And I thought that was kind of strange, like because there's a lot of people living here, but they just act like LA's there and we don't exist. And that makes a lot of people mad. But there was that one time when there was the actual shooting, like there was the terrorists like shooting at a Christmas party, and the they said the president wasn't even going to come speak to the families, and then he was just going to send the vice president. I think at the last minute he came. So there's been a lot of strange things but that was more just like a work dispute with somebody who seems to be a terrorist, but that was strange too. I don't know. There's just always weird things happening. So I do not know.
Oh, that's okay.
Anyway, it's probably not even related to that. It sounds like this was a party from what I was looking at. Did your daughter ever do Pokemon, like the Pokemon gatherings where the people play that game in the park when they're walking around or just outside?
I don't think she really ever did that. She's into Animal Crossing.
Okay. I didn't know it was still so big, but apparently like it's still really big and people like are still like it's even bigger than it was because of the pandemic. Like they kind of stopped, but they never really stopped. Just not as many people came during the pandemic, but now like people are gathering like in parks and they do like a community event, and I didn't know it was so big, like but a lot of people show up and they park and they're walking around with their phones like looking for the characters, and I just didn't know the game was still that big.
Yeah, I'm not into that, so don't know much about it.
I will say this though, if you're walking though, you probably need to look where you're going, because sometimes I'll see them walk into the street and the cars are trying to pass and people are just looking at their phones like zombies playing the Pokemon game. Like it's kind of scary.
Yeah, it's too bad. I would much rather just go walking in nature and seeing butterflies and things like that. And I pay attention to where I'm going.
Yeah, yesterday there was a water leak and I guess some robins were playing in the water. I wanted to see it, but then by the time I left I guess they had already dried it up because it was an accidental water pipe and it created a little pond. But the pond was so dry and we're so dry that the trees just sucked up all the water within 3 hours.
Well, it's very wet here. We've had rain after rain after rain, and
It's cold again. Do you see that I'm wearing a sweater? That's not normal for me, without air conditioning. But
Wow. Well, at least you're getting more rain. Like we just got a little bit of rain recently. I wish we got more rain. But we're not going to because we're a desert climate, really.
yeah.
Except it's funny though, like some days it'll be 110 degrees and then the next day it's like 57 degrees. And I'm like, but up in the mountains, apparently it was sunny. But down here Friday morning, it was like 57 degrees, cloudy, and just a little bit of drizzle, but not much. We have all these funny little microclimates.
It's really hard to understand why the weather is the way it is.
The weather got it wrong too, okay? Because I got up Friday morning and I looked at weather.com. I was like, I think I hear rain. Maybe I should take an umbrella. And they said it's only a 2% chance of rain. I'm like, I think there's rain. And then I got outside and it was definitely sprinkling.
Wow. So you should be the weather.
Yeah, I usually do it that way. I don't always look at the weather.com, but I thought, oh, I'll just check it out to see. But I find most of the time, if you look at it yourself, what's going on outside, you can predict it much better. And like, I kind of can tell with like the clouds, like the way that they look, if it's going to rain or not. That does help. Just to think about. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go on.
Oh no, all I was gonna say was like the way the weather is here, though it can be rainy and cloudy here, but the mountains, like it'll back up to the mountains and then it's sunny up in the mountains. I just find that amusing.
Yeah. I was going to say that I've been observing the milkweed, and I think it's going to bloom very soon.
Ooh, I love your milkweed pictures.
So I think this is as good as it gets with this picture.
I like it though. It turned out really good.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit skinnier than I made him, but I do see his character.
I see him like his face. He's kind of does he hold things back? Like he's kind of like somebody that has a plan, but he doesn't tell people his plan.
Yeah, he's the magician.
Yeah, that's what I thought. There's something going on with him. I don't think you can see anything, but I'll try. No.
Oh.
It's blurry. Ew.
Yeah, I can see that you colored her. I don't know if it's her hair or something that she wears around her hair. Is that her hair?
Well, this is her hair to the side, which I decided to create. Remember, like we did those paintings and I said I was going to do her hair. Yeah. So I finally got around to it 2 years later. Well, fun story was I had the drawing and I put it aside back in July of 2020. And I came home one day and it had some writing on it. And I was told that somebody accidentally thought it was like paper to take a note on. So then I had to transfer this onto a new drawing paper.
Wow.
Which it wasn't a note, but never mind all that. So, and I'm kind of slow at getting around to finishing things sometimes. That's all.
No, that's okay. I think it's wonderful that you are not giving up on it and you're going to get it done despite the fact that something not so good happened with it.
Well, I just start over again, and that's why I love tracing paper because I love the drawing. The drawing was great. All I have to do is and it actually worked out better because this part's a cutout, so it kind of gives a dimension, but you can't tell because my connection sucks.
Okay, well, you know how blurry I was. I wonder whether I'm going to be equally blurry once this renders.
No, you look so good. You look really clear this time. I think we reversed places or something. I don't know.
I guess so. Maybe they decided that they were going to give the clarity to the person who was hosting.
Maybe. Although I think I have a connectivity issue, which is connected to that router that ever since it showed up, it's just had issues. And it seems like I should have unplugged it the other night. I was told that, but I just didn't want to bother with it. So I think I'll do it today.
Okay. All right. Well,
I think I'm going to sign this.
Yeah, I want to see you sign it.
I'm going to get some red. I like to use red. But then I don't know if I can have, it's not really red, it's
but just like a
pink.
Pinkish red.
Yeah.
I really like how the ice turned out on this one. It's so good.
Thank you. That's what I like to do is I like
doing the expression on the face.
Turned out very good, Aya.
Thank you.
I don't know if you saw the Turkish bookmark that I found out that I had.
I'll have to look on Facebook. Did you post it there?
Maybe I did in my story, but you know what? I also posted it on the Vacuum County Instagram, but nobody looks there. But
Um,
I'll go look for it and see if I can show you. Okay?
okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I need to go check out the vacuum. I just haven't been as active on anything really. So it's probably just because I don't know. I just haven't been on it as much.
Okay, so every once in a while, I will straighten things out and find stuff that I didn't know was here.
That's cool.
Um, so this book had this bookmark in it, and this book is Quo Vadis. It's a Hebrew translation of the Polish book by Sienkiewicz about Petronius. And
Oh.
this is the book that Mara Fallowfield learned about Petronius from. You
Ah.
know, she had a crush on Petronius, and then she decided Mr. Sesame was just like Petronius.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway,
That's cool.
this is the bookmark that I found in there. And
Oh, it looks like a carpet. Oh my gosh, I love
yeah,
it.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe if I put it here, it would be easier to see.
Yeah, I
Uh,
see it. Like, can I, if you put it up, can I, oh yeah, I see it now. That's so beautiful. I love it.
so it's inside a plastic cover to keep it, but there's
Yeah.
actually a tiny rug inside, and it's called Oriental Carpet Bookmark, and it says woven in Istanbul.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know where I should put it to make it more visible.
Where do you think you got that?
I have no idea.
That's so beautiful. That's really neat. Wow.
It might have belonged to my grandfather. I don't know.
Wow.
So
Well, I
here,
really like that. That's beautiful. Wow. Look at that.
yeah, you can see the backside of the weaving.
Wow. That's really neat, Aya. You need
Thank
to
you.
do a video about that, like a short or something, I think later.
I would if I thought that anybody cared. But
Okay.
the problem is every time I think I have something really neat, nobody looks at it, and it just reduces my ratings. Um, so let me read for you what it says here. Experience a taste from ages past with Oriental carpet bookmarks. Your Oriental carpet bookmark is a miniature rendition of an actual world famous Oriental carpet. A particular carpet's name almost always comes from the village or region in which it is woven. Your Oriental carpet bookmark is a Tashkent, Turkmenistan original,
Oh,
circa 1825.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That is really neat. I it almost makes well, honestly, one thing I do want to get one day, someday, if I ever do move, is I want to get a real Persian or Turkish carpet. I've been thinking about that, like a beautiful one of
Yeah.
these days. That's really, but I love the bookmark. That is so cool.
Yeah. I have so many treasures that I don't really need to go out and buy anything, you know?
Well, you don't have to buy anything. I'm not saying that you have to. You have wonderful things like that have history behind them.
Yeah. So I guess I just need to be grateful for what I have.
Well, and I think that's, well, look, no, but how many people can say that they had that in their book? That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Well,
I guess we've come to the end of our painting together session. I really enjoyed painting along with you.
it was a lot of fun, and I love the way your painting turned out, and I hope you have a nice day, Aya.
You too, Julia, and hopefully we can do this again very soon.
I would like to do it next Sunday. We'll see what your schedule's like, okay?
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.